Right, that boar has noticed us, so it wants to fight. Let's get down there with him and fight. You want to fight, boar? Come on. Hey there, survivors. Cougar here, and with Ancestors coming out on consoles tomorrow, I thought was time for a day one walkthrough. Now, I do have 3 short tutorials available. If you're just looking for a quick introduction to the game, I'll link those down in the description below, but let's do a full-on walkthrough from beginning to end of at least day one. I mean, probably a couple of days. We'll play for about an hour here. I'm going to start on what I think most people are going to start on in terms of their settings here. That will be first time, a useful assistance, that being a full HUD and no tutorial. Now, beginners will probably want to start with the full tutorial, but I know that stuff already, so I'm going to start with no tutorial, and I'll try to do what I can to kind of replicate the tutorial as much as possible as we go along. All right, I've skipped over the opening cinematic in which a baby gets separated from the clan. And so now we are in control of this baby, and we are trying to get him to a safe place before, so someone can come and retrieve him. So what we're going to do is first bring up our intelligence screen. Now, I am playing on a mouse with a mouse and keyboard, so apologies. I'm not going to give you the actual keys to hit, buttons to hit here, but you'll be able to figure that out yourself. So with intelligence mode active, I'm going to identify this spot. It tells me it's a hiding spot. I can now memorize that location so that it always shows on the HUD, and we will follow that marker to that hiding spot. This baby is a little scared. That's why you're seeing these scary figures on the screen. We've made it to the hiding spot. Now we just need to hide. All right, now we are switching to an adult member of our clan, starting here at the Hidden Waterfall Oasis. Okay, and our first objective is to go and find the missing baby. Before we do that, now we do have 2 babies in the clan right now. There's one here. We're going to pick this baby up, go over here, and ask him to piggyback on us. Carrying babies around multiplies the experience points that you're going to earn as you go through the game. So you always want to have at least 1 baby on you. That indicator in the upper right hand corner tells you that we have matured a neuron just by using it. One of our babies has been born with a spontaneous genetic mutation. That's good. I've gotten us into a bit of a bad spot here. There we go. You can hear the missing baby crying off in the distance. We're going to follow the sound of those cries. Try to figure out where he is and get him back. He's not far now. A quick note as we head over to the baby here, if you're hoping to do a lot of Tarzan-like swinging through the trees in this game, that's not really how it works. I'll talk more about that in a bit. We've got a snake. Do you hear that hissing? There's a snake out there who's seen us. We're going to try to intimidate the snake. We successfully intimidated it, but I also hear a boar. Now it looks like the boar and the snake found each other, and they're going to go at it. Or the snake's just going to run away from the boar. Smart move, snake. And now we're over here. The baby is hiding under here. We're going to comfort the baby. It doesn't really tell you how this works, but basically we're going to try to match the vocalizations that the baby is putting out to try to put him at ease, okay? So I'm going to make a noise. We are trying to match the time between the vocalizations and the length of the vocalizations. So pause as long as the baby pauses before responding, and then respond by holding down the button as long as you think the baby was speaking, so that you're vocalizing the same period of time that the baby did. Now we've matured a neuron by communicating with the baby there, and we are going to make use of those matured neurons back at base. Now we could stay out here in the world and do some exploration and do some learning about our environment, but I think on day one, we want to do that in a very safe environment since we have no combat skills or abilities or even a weapon on us with which to defend ourselves right now. So we're going to immediately head back to base. To find your base, you're going to bring up intelligence mode. Intelligence mode, you will always have an indicator for your home clan. There, it's the purple indicator. And we can identify it and then memorize it to lock that location onto our HUD. And then just follow that all the way back to the clan. The display in the lower right-hand corner is our clan status display. Adults are indicated on the left side of the circle. Elders are located on the top of the circle. Babies are the orange dots on the lower right-hand side of the circle. You see that those two orange dots have lines connecting them to the center part of the circle. That means they are attached to me. In this case, they are literally attached to me because they're riding on my back, but you can also attach other clan members to you, adults and elders, to get them to travel with you. Now, if you look at the center bottom of the screen, that is our overall wellness indicator, our life expectancy. And you see, stand by. So a lot of these cutscenes I'm going to skip over, but some of them are worth watching. Let's watch this. The babies are very happy to be back together, and the mama is very grateful to us for bringing them back, or bringing him back. A little bit of clan bonding there. Isn't that nice? Actually, that looks like Grandma and Mama, both very happy that their babies are back. Okay, great. Now our next objective is to build a sleep spot. This is where we're going to lie down, obviously for the night, but also where we're going to lie down to do our neuronal advancements, to spend our XP. Now there happen to be some sleep spots already built here. There are two, but we do have an objective to build a sleep spot, so let's try to bang that out. To do that, we are going to need to learn a little bit about our environment. Now you see we've still got this indicator lit here. I'm going to unfocus that so that it's not constantly on our HUD. And now what we need to do is just spend a little bit of time in intelligence mode familiarizing ourselves with our immediate environment. We're going to familiarize ourselves with the plants and animals and our cohorts and the water and everything that's around here. To do that, we're going to go pick stuff up, like this grass. We're going to inspect it. Now you see, the first time I looked at this grass in intelligence mode, it gave us a question mark. I'm going to drop that, but look, if I look at it again and try to identify it, well, sorry, that was behind me. It'll actually tell us that this is something that we know. This is the grass. Okay, now we got to do the same thing with a few more things here around the camp. So I just picked some horsetail. Let's inspect that. Great, now we know what horsetail is and we can actually eat it. Great way to satisfy our hunger, and there are going to be more uses for that horsetail that we will discover as we go along. Our clan is imitating us. They're also eating some horsetail now. We got more things to check out here. Here are some berries. Let's inspect those berries. I'll go ahead and eat a berry, or a handful of berries. Maybe two. Looks like I was a little bit hungry there. I was talking about our life expectancy meter down in the center of the screen. Now that takes into account your hunger, your thirst, and your sleep, rest, and mixes them all into one big green circle. The red ring around the outside of the circle indicates that we are low on something, food, water, or rest. Probably all three at this point. We're out here standing in the water because now we want to scoop up some water, inspect it. Yes, this looks like fresh water that we can actually drink. Now we'll drink the water. Our clan will imitate us. They'll come over and start drinking too. And if you see our health circle down at the bottom, it was flashing yellow, indicating that we were replenishing a need. In that case, our thirst. We've identified some stuff here. There are a couple more things that I want to show you before we move on. There are more things to identify here. One of them being these mushrooms growing on the log over here. That is often where you'll find these mushrooms. Now, these mushrooms are edible. They will get you sick at first. I'm going to go ahead and eat these and watch what happens. Let me get out of the water. I'm going to eat these. It makes us sick to our stomach. If you look in the lower left-hand corner, you see that we've got a green stomach indicator down there telling us that we are a little bit sick right now. You can make that sickness go away faster by just drinking water, just diluting the bad stuff that you put in your stomach. But the important part is that the more you eat the stuff that makes you sick, the less sick it makes you. So keep eating these things like mushrooms and snails and other stuff that you find out in the world that makes you sick, because eventually it will no longer make you sick. Here's another thing that we can inspect. Let's grab a branch off this tree and inspect it. Now we have a branch. This is a basic tool and weapon that we can use to defend ourselves, but we're not in a dangerous position right now. So I'll hit C to drop it. Well, for me on mouse and keyboard, I will hit C to drop it, but you can also hold down the same button, whichever button that is for you on the controller, to throw stuff. Throwing stuff is not terribly useful in this game, but you can scare predators that way, and there are some other uses for it, just in terms of moving stuff around. There's more stuff for us to inspect here. We've got 3 different kinds of rock in the game, and all 3 kinds are present here at our starting base. This is granite. There are things we can do with that, but not right now, so let's just leave it here. And let's go find the 2 other rock types that are here around our base. This is obsidian. This is a little bit harder than granite and more useful. Well, I don't know about harder, but you can make useful tools with obsidian. You can with granite as well. And we'll talk more about tools. In fact, that is the topic of one of the short tutorial videos that I mentioned at the top of this video, is tool use and creation. So we'll just leave it at that for now. These are large rocks that you can later use a stick to flip over and get valuable stuff underneath those rocks. Usually you're going to find mushrooms or perhaps other stones under there. Stones for making tools. Now here's the 3rd type of stone. This is basalt. I'm going to inspect this as well. All 3 of these stone types can be used to make tools. I'm going to bring this back to our base with us. And it looks like the sun is getting ready to go down already. It does get kind of hard to see on the videos when the sun goes down, so we'll probably try to sleep away as much of the night as possible. Let's just drop this basalt here for now. We'll come back and use that at another time. But our objective was to build a sleep spot. So to do that, we're going to need grass. Let's pick some grass. Go over here. Now we already dropped one of that first piece of grass that we picked up. We dropped here. Let's add this piece of grass to that pile. Let's go get another piece of grass. Add it to the pile. One more piece of grass. There's more over here. And add it to the pile. Now we can start construction. See on the left-hand side of the screen it says start construction. So whatever your button is for that. You're going to hit E to start. You're going to hit that button to start the construction, and then hit another button a few times to actually build it into a sleep spot. Now we have a place we can lie down and rest. And it is getting a little bit late and a little bit dark now, so why don't we take this opportunity to do that. Before I do that, let me just make sure that I'm going to bed with a full stomach. So I'm going to eat some horsetails and have a sip of water, and then we'll climb into bed. And we're going to spend some XP on day 1 after we get into bed. It looks like we weren't really that thirsty. That's plenty of water. Let's go to bed before it gets too dark to see anything. We can lie down on the bed we just made, or we can lie down on one of the existing ones. I'm going to take this existing one. This looks like a nice one to lie down on. All right, and lie down. Now, at this point, we can perform an evolution. Now, this is not an evolutionary leap. This evolution is how we spend XP. So let's do that. The white circle in the center is the amount of XP that we have gathered so far. This circle will shrink as we spend the XP. We're going to spend it right now. We have matured a neuron, a motricity neuron. That was the first neuron that we matured. Let's go ahead and initiate locking that in. This spends a bit of XP and allows us to now switch hands with an item. So we can now use both hands. We could not use both hands at the start of the game. That gives us more ways to advance ourselves. There's nothing else that we can advance tonight. So we're done here. All right, this is new tutorial type text for you, because there was a lot of confusion about this when the game first launched. So make sure that you read these texts to help you along as you go. And now we're going to hold down the button to sleep. I'm still holding the button. I'm still holding the button. You will sleep for as long as you're holding this button down. And you see that our life expectancy meter at the bottom was flashing yellow, indicating that we were gaining sleep and increasing our overall well-being. Oh, great, it's raining today. Well, oh, sorry, I was inside the monkey butt there. Well, unfortunately, bad luck, we got a rainy day today, so it's going to be a little bit hard to see stuff, and it's going to be making a little bit of noise in the background as well, but what are we going to do? So now that we have identified things by picking them up and inspecting them, now we can sit here and go into intelligence mode and look at the things that we now know what they are, like those sticks, and actually identify them through our intelligence mode. Now, if you look in the meter in the lower right-hand corner, every time we identify something, we are gaining XP. So this is a perhaps not particularly exciting, but very important part of this game. This is a really, really important part of how you gain XP in order to spend it on locking in neurons and advancing. You just got to sit here and look at stuff and identify it. This whole time, you see my XP meter is filling. That is a fishing spot that we have not actually identified yet, so let's go over and inspect it so that we can get some neuronal energy by identifying it in intelligence mode. I'm going to inspect. We now know that that is a fishing spot. We can use a sharpened stick to fish for seafood there. Now, if I go into intelligence mode and look at it, where before it showed us a question mark, it now shows us the icon for the fishing spot. Got some more stuff to look at here. Now, this identification goes kind of slowly at first, but as you go along, you will build the neurons that are required to make this go a lot faster. You can identify a bunch of stuff all at once. You can identify stuff that's farther away. You can identify stuff just basically faster, more efficiently, without it being quite so slow to zoom in and get the solid box around the icon that indicates that we've identified it. So don't be discouraged thinking that you're going to have to do this slowly and deliberately forever. You will be getting faster at this as you go along. But for now, we're just trying to do enough of this to actually advance the neuron so that we can get back on our sleep spot and evolve. That's an unknown thing up there. We should probably go inspect. And this is our location. We are now going to discover this location. Discovering locations is a huge part of your advancement in Ancestors. It not only provides you with alternate places to sleep and live with your clan, but it provides you with big amounts of XP when you get to the point where you're doing evolutionary leaps, which is still quite a ways away for us. Every time you discover a new location, a meteorite drops. These meteorites are also very, very important. Meteorites provide you with generational locks. That's not going to make a lot of sense to you right now, but every time you advance a generation, you're allowed to lock in a certain number of neurons that you have advanced. So we have advanced 1 neuron so far, and you get, let's not get ahead of ourselves. We have matured our intelligence neuron, which is exactly what we were hoping to do. Now, we could go out and try to retrieve that meteorite out there. There's smoke rising from it right now. That smoke is not going to last forever. Now, I know where that meteorite has fallen, so I'm not going to worry too much about getting out there and getting to it today. In fact, I'm going to take us back. Well, before we go back, we're up here. After this cutscene, we're way, 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 way up in the trees. And we're actually above that creature nest down there, which is where one of our compatriots died in the opening cutscene. There's a lot of, we've also got, see the people icons there, the little boy and the little girl icons. Those are hominids that we can add to our clan, and I guess we can go over some of that stuff today. Wow, that was close. Almost missed my jump there. But since we're already up here, why don't we go and do a little inspection of this this bird's nest. Now, this is a little bit dangerous. The bird could come down and attack us as we do this. So let's just grab an egg and get away from here as quickly as possible. Okay. The bird did not attack us. Let's take a minute to inspect the egg we just picked up. Now, again, as I was saying with the mushrooms, this is something that you can eat, but it will make you sick at first. The more you eat them, the less sick they make you, to the point where you won't get sick at all. Now, I just kind of accidentally picked up something else here. There's a fruit right there down underneath us. I picked one of those up and started inspecting it. That's an African giant mompin. You can eat those too. They're not our hominid's favorite food, but he'll eat them if he has to. And you hear our stomach growling, and you see that our stomach is a little upset in the lower left-hand corner. We're also kind of cold right now. There are things you can do about that. We're not going to worry about that right now. It's not going to do too much damage to us. For now, I'm just looking to get back to... Wow, that was a long jump. Looking to get back to our clan. Okay, we're back. Because we're a little bit sick to the stomach. We got a little upset tummy. Let's drink some water to try to get rid of it a little faster. And it's gone, just like that. Now, just getting out of the rain will allow us to warm up a little bit. You see the icon, the snowflake icon in the lower left-hand corner? That's telling us that we're just a little bit cold. It's going to make our view is kind of shivering right now because we're cold, but now we've warmed up. And since we're back here, let's go ahead and lie down for a second to advance that neuron that we evolved, to evolve that neuron that we advanced enough to do. Got a lot of XP to spend here. And this is the neuron we just evolved. So we'll learn that ability. The range for detection of non-edible resources is increased. So we can now see and inspect things from farther away in intelligence mode. This seems to go a little bit slowly at first. Trust me, it'll go a lot faster in a little while. But for now, just doing that will get us on the way to being more evolved as we go along. All right, now that we have evolved to the ability of being able to use both our hands, let us grab a stick, switch it to our other hand, hold the alter button, hold it down, and release when you hear the chime. Unfortunately, we've got this rain right now that is making it even harder to hear the chime that I just was talking about. Let's inspect the, I gotta switch hands and inspect the stripped stick. This is a stripped stick. Stripped stick is also a good defensive weapon, and it is a tool as well. Oh good, the rain is letting up. So I'm gonna strip another stick for you. Hopefully you'll be able to hear a little bit better the chime sound that indicates when to do it. We're going to inspect this big rock, and then I'm going to use the stripped stick on the big rock. Again, we're going to hold the action button down until you hear a chime sound that tells you when to release it to flip this rock. Okay? Did you hear that? Chung chung. That's the sound you're looking for. Everything in Ancestors operates on an action on release game mechanic. So we're holding a button down, then when we hear the chime, we'll release it. Mushrooms. Great. And in the other one we found some stones, which is probably good because they're probably basalt, which is the best stone in the game to work with. In fact, why don't we go back right now? I'm going to switch hands, pick up a stone in my right hand, and then head back to base. We'll now have 2 basalt stones back here at base with us, and that'll be the next thing that we try to alter with our newfound ability of using both our hands. All right, so now I'm going to try to alter the stick that we have, the stripped stick that we have in our hands, and make it into a sharpened stick. I'm holding down the action button, or the alter key. Now I'm holding down the action button and releasing it when I hear the chime. We've matured a dexterity neuron. Right now we are using an unaltered rock to do this, so it's taking a lot of strokes to get this refined into a sharpened stick. Switch hands, inspect. But we can make tools that will help us do that a lot faster. So let's drop the stick. Let's go pick up the other piece of basalt that we brought back here yesterday and alter this. Holding down the alter button, now holding down the action button and releasing when we hear the chime. All right, we shattered that because we're not very good at this yet. In fact, we should probably not be working with basalt as our first rock because it's very finicky and hard to work with. Let's work with obsidian instead. Shattered that one too because this is day 1. You're going to have to learn how to do this stuff. And by you, I mean your primate, not necessarily you, the player. Keep trying. Even if you fail, keep trying. That's almost it. Is there any more? One more piece of obsidian there. All right, we have made an obsidian scraper. Let's inspect it. Great, we now have an obsidian scraper. Now I'm going to hold on, drop the one we were working with. I'm going to drop both of them actually. Switch hands and drop. Now I'm going to go over to the tree here, grab another stick. Now that the rain has stopped, just move away from the waterfall to make it a little easier to hear. And if you're having a lot of trouble hearing these chimes, you might want to turn the music off as well. Switch it to the other hand, hold down the Alt key, hold down the Action key, release when you hear the chime. Now we've stripped that stick. Now it took us 15 strokes to turn the stripped stick into a sharpened stick with the unaltered rock. Now that we have an obsidian scraper, six strokes, okay? And the basalt chopper is even more effective at that. So once you are good enough to work with the basalt, which is there, right in front of our nose, you can make even more effective tools. But again, that is a very finicky, tricky material to work with. So don't be discouraged if you start trying to mess with basalt right off the bat and just keep breaking it. That's just how it's going to work. Over here to the granite. Now, this is the third type of rock. I'm going to pick up 2 pieces of granite, alter them. I now have a granite grinder. Switch hands. All right, now, because I'm in intelligence mode, I just stood up. I did that unintentionally just now, but that is something that you can do and want to do, because this is going to allow you to develop the neurons that you're going to need to be bipedal, to walk on 2 legs. At the start, when you do this, you can only walk a couple of steps on 2 legs before crouching again, but eventually you'll be able to walk great distances on 2 legs as you evolve. Let me switch. I just want to try to move away from the waterfall to make it a little easier to hear. I'm going to switch hands, inspect the tool that we just made. This is a granite grinder. And I will show you what this is used for in just a second. Switch hands again, drop the unrefined piece, and let's head out here. There's another food that we have not seen yet out here. Don't worry about these thorn bushes. That's something you can worry about when you advance a little bit, not today. There's another food out here. This is cot. Cot provides you with buffs in the form of, as I eat this, watch the lower left-hand corner. Well, first we have to inspect it because this is the first time we're encountering it. Now I'm going to eat it. Watch the lower left-hand corner for the buffs that appear. That gave us protection against broken bones on the left and protection against cold on the right. Those 2 icons down in the lower left-hand corner. Now, with the granite grinder in my hand, I'm going to take this cot that we just picked up and I'm going to alter it. Well, we got to switch hands first, so the granite grinder is in our right hand. Now we're going to alter this. We've made cot paste. Switch hands, inspect. Now you see how eating it gave us a little bit of protection, indicated by the blue bar at the bottom of the icons. Now I'm going to eat this refined cot, the cot that we just made into cot paste using a granite grinder. Watch those icons. Full up, maximum protection when you use a tool to refine these medicines into good stuff to eat. And before I let you go, since the sun's going down soon, before I let you go, let me show you one more thing, as long as I have the granite grinder on me. Now this is going to be a little harder to demonstrate because we've already maximized our broken bone protection from the cot paste. But if I go over here to the cot, or excuse me, to the horsetails, just try to get away from the waterfall. Now I'm going to, sorry, switch hands, drop the grinder for a second. I'm going to alter this horsetail. I'm holding down the Alter key. Now I'm holding down the action button. I'm going to release when I hear the chime. Great. We have made some horsetail fibers. We're going to, switch hands, inspect it. So if I were to rub these horsetail fibers on myself right now, I would gain some protection from bleeding. If I get into a fight and start bleeding, it would stop my bleeding. But what we're going to do instead is we're going to pick up the granite grinder. We're going to alter the horsetail leaves. Switch hands. Inspect. We now have horsetail paste. And if you watch the lower left-hand corner for the icon that's going to pop up when I eat this, when I apply it to myself, we now have maximum protection against bleeding. So we're going to have to go out and get into some combat tomorrow. Yeah, I think we might do one more day here. It's kind of cloudy today, which is why it's just a little bit hard to see, but I think we're going to try and do one more day here. So we've got an obsidian scraper. We've got a granite grinder. We're going to drop here and leave back here at base, and eventually we'll have a basalt chopper, the three main tools for our guys. These are our main defensive weapons, the sharpened sticks. And I would take you out right now and do a little bit of hunting and combat training, but it's getting late and it's getting dark. It's about 7 o'clock in the evening right now, so it's going to be getting dark soon. So let's just stay here and do a little something here. Let's do something. So let me show you some other, tool-wise, some other stuff that you can do right off the bat. So we've discovered that we can make beds out of these leaves. I'm going to pick up a leaf again, and I'm going to switch it to my other hand and alter it. Just like the stick and just like the horsetail. Now, switch hands, inspect, we have a grass stem. Now, what is up here that we could not identify before? Remember we saw something up there? That looks like a beehive. Let's get up there and check it out. We've never seen one before, so we're going to have to inspect it. He's found a gathering spot, and the way we're going to gather stuff out of there is to dip into it with our grass stem. So we dipped it. Let's inspect what we just dipped out of there. Honey, delicious honey. Now we can eat that honey. Look at our lower left-hand corner. Protection from venom. That will heal venom if you get bitten by a snake, and it will protect you from snake bites. Okay, one more thing to show you while we're up here. Well, it's getting kind of late now, but hopefully it's bright enough to show you one last thing. Stand by. This is a cocoa tree with coconuts on it, right? Now we can use those coconuts, and I'm going to show you more about how to use them tomorrow. But in terms of preparing for that, what we can also do, if you look at the left-hand side, we're getting an indicator that we can shake this tree. force the coconuts to fall down to the ground. Now those will be available for us. They fell into the water there. We're going to have to find them, but this gives me an opportunity to demonstrate if we go into intelligence mode and now change to smelling, we can smell stuff, right? So we can smell that there are berries over there. We can smell that there is a fishing spot or mushrooms over there. Actually, it looks like the mushrooms are a little too far away. We can smell that there's fresh water there. We can smell that these coconuts have fallen into the water and are hidden under the water, but now we know where they are. Now, we haven't actually inspected them yet, so we don't know what they are yet, but let's save that for tomorrow. It's getting really late and really dark now. Let's just eat our last little bit of honey before we go to sleep. Drop our grass stem over here with the rest of our tools and lie down for the night. We have matured a neuron, so let's do a quick evolution here before we go to sleep. We matured the dexterity neuron when we were sharpening that stick. We now have the ability to switch from one hand to the other while moving. Oh, and that opened up some other stuff that we have matured as well. This one is handling. This should help us help prevent us from dropping stuff. Oh, the ability to drop an item while moving is acquired, so that's good to have. But eventually, as you continue along this neuronal path, you're going to develop the ability to hold on to stuff, to have a better chance of holding on to stuff when you get attacked, sometimes you drop stuff. You don't want to drop stuff, especially if it's your weapon. Before we leave this screen, let me just show you really quickly. Now, again, there was that the tutorial message here explaining about neuronal advances versus generational advances versus evolutionary advances. To get to those screens, when you first come into the neuronal screen, you zoom out. Now we're in the generation screen. And I don't want to get ahead of ourselves and start talking about generational advances today. We'll get there eventually. If you zoom out again, you get to the evolutionary leap screen. Now that's way ahead of ourselves. Let's not even think about evolutionary leaps, because that's way down the road. So for now, let's just call it a night and sleep. Before we head out tomorrow, I will show you how to gather the clan to you and make them follow you if you want them to follow you. I personally do not recommend having the clan follow you when you first start out. They're just going to be more trouble than they're worth, because they're helpless, basically. Oh, we accidentally picked up a coconut. I meant to get some water, but we accidentally picked up a coconut, so let's go ahead and inspect it. Excuse me. Sir, pardon me. Great, we found a coconut, and there's a bunch of stuff we can do with this, but let's not deal with it right now. Ah, I accidentally picked up the other one. See, this is where the throwing comes into play. Let's just get it out of here. Get some water, we're very thirsty. Come on, get some water. If you look at our life expectancy meter in the center bottom of the screen, it flashed yellow once. Now, we were very thirsty, so obviously we need more water than that. Sometimes you have to fill up your stomach with water before you start getting the flashes that you're seeing now, indicating that you're actually improving your wellness by banking a stockpile of water within your body. So we just got out of the danger area with the first couple of sips that we took, and then eventually we are doing more. With these coconuts lying around, I was going to eat some berries for breakfast, but with these coconuts lying around, this is a good opportunity to show you some of the stuff we can do with coconuts. So I'm going to pick up a coconut. I'm going to go over here and get one of our tools. Now, you don't need a tool for this. You can use any unprocessed rock, unrefined rock. But let's see what happens when we try to alter the coconut with a rock. Okay, we have broken that coconut open. Let's inspect it. Now, altering the coconut in this manner allows you to drink the coconut milk that's in there, which also allows you to kind of, it acts as a canteen, basically. This is how you can transport water with you if you need to bring water somewhere else. And that's going to come into play when we start going out into the world and finding other hominids that we want to add to our clan. There's more stuff you can do with the coconut. I'm going to drop the stone that we picked up, go grab another coconut, and now with no stone in our hand, we're going to alter this coconut using just our hands. You expose the nut, switch hands, oops, switch hands, inspect. Now, if you try to alter the nut with a stone, I destroyed it. I'm just not experienced enough as a primate to make that work. Basically, you can break open the nut and eat the meat out of it, and the meat is extremely nourishing and has excellent buff properties. So it can give you some nice buffs if you're ready to do that. All right, I promised you a little bit of combat today, so let's go out and make that happen. That button has either changed or I've forgotten how to do it, but I'll show you that on another day. Let's go out and try to fight something. Show you a little bit about combat. This day one tutorial gets... We're running a little out of time now. Now, I can hear other primates out here in the world with us right now. But you guys want to see me fight something so that you know how to fight. So let's worry about those primates in the next video. And today we'll just go fight something. You're not going to find a lot of predators really close to the base here. We're going to have to move away from it a bit to find something to fight. Wow! That was a long drop, but we did not break a leg. And that snake is out here somewhere. Now, again, combat operates on an action on release mechanism. There's the snake. We're going to hold down the action button, hold down a direction, which in this case is toward the snake. When you first start out, your primates are very bad at fighting. That snake did not poison us for some reason. I'm not sure why. But I would like to fight him again. Can find him. I'm not sure where he went. Did you see which way he went? I didn't see which way he went. Well, there'll be more stuff out in the world to fight. I have a short, well, like 3-minute combat tutorial video if you want to really dig deep into the nuts and bolts of combat. For now, I'm just going to tell you that, so it operates on an action on release button. When you get the cue to start combat, you're going to hold down the action button, hold down a direction button, and then release the button when you release the action button when you hear the chime. All right, that boar has noticed us, so it wants to fight. Let's get down there with him and fight. You want to fight, boar? Come on. All right, so we have no combat skills right now. So even though we did everything right that time, the boar still won, and he broke our leg. Now to deal with this broken leg, whoop, and the snake's here too, and he got us too. This is how combat works when you're a beginner. You are going to lose all the time, and my dude has lost and is so freaked out now that he's panicking. He's just running away. I had no control over him while that was happening. But guys, be prepared to lose a lot as a beginner. It's not that you suck at the game, it's that your primates suck at combat. You you need to teach them how to fight. Now we are infected with snake venom and we have a broken leg. Let's deal with the broken leg by eating some of the horsetail. If you watch the indicator on the lower left corner of the screen, that's making our broken leg feel better. The venom we can deal with very quickly by eating something like honey, but we can deal with it slowly by just drinking a lot of water. This is just basically going to dilute the venom. This is going to take a while. Another thing you can do is drink coconut milk. That will help you get rid of the venom faster than drinking water. But for now, let's just do this so that you guys aren't staring at these wavy lines for too long. But yeah, guys, don't get frustrated by the combat as a beginner. It's not that you suck at the combat, it's that your primates have no idea how to fight. And the only way to get them better at doing this is to keep doing it. Even if you fail, just know what the remedies are, know how to treat bleeding, know how to treat venom, know how to treat broken bones. Pretty sure our sharpened stick was still, yeah, it's still available. It's over here hiding in the grass. There it is. And that snake is still out there. Let's try dodging the snake this time. I'm going to hit the direction key and release. Okay, we actually dodged it and we did not drop our weapon. Let's see if he comes back for more. Did he go? He went up the hill. Let's chase him down and see if we can actually fight and kill one of these guys. Come here. Come on, snake. Toward him. Release. Okay. Now, again, we struck him. We actually won that combat. But we're so bad at combat right now that we didn't actually kill him. We can't harvest his meat. But we did win that encounter, basically. Intimidate. We mentioned we kind of stumbled through some intimidation earlier. But another thing that you can do, if you look in the lower left-hand corner, we are yellow. You've got a yellow eye there that shows you that a predator was in the area and was targeting us. So we could have intimidated him to try to get him away. But now he's out of the area. Well, I can still hear him, but he's out of there. We may have broken our stick there. I'm in intelligence mode right now looking for the stick. And again, I'm gonna stand up in intelligence mode to mature a motricity neuron. Great. There's the boar over there. See him moving around. And a bunch of stuff that we have yet to identify. Right? But yeah, we broke our stick. We're going to have to go back and not go back. We don't have to go all the way back to get another stick. We can find one out here in the world. But why don't we call it an episode here, our day one walkthrough of Ancestors. Leave a like and subscribe if you found it helpful and or enjoyable, and I'll do a little bit more. Thanks for watching, everybody. Stay safe, Ancestors.